Connell, let's bring in, I'm really excited about this next guest, chairman of the U.S.-Israel Education Association and former Auburn men's basketball coach, Bruce Pearl. Coach, welcome to the show. Thank you for your time this morning.
It's good to be with you guys.
You know, we're 10 days away from Selection Sunday in March Madness. You're a household name for accomplishments on the court, yet here we are talking about Iran and peace in the Middle East with you. You've been supportive of this decision from the president to strike. When and why did you become so passionate about this?
You know, Markie, there's a lot of people that are asking a lot of questions about whether this is a war of choice or who started this war. And President Trump is having to defend his decision. The question I ask people is the world safer if Iran does not have a nuclear weapon? Because we recognize they have the ability to deliver such weapon through their ballistic missiles program. And look, war is terrible, and it comes with a terrific cost. It comes with a cost to the American people and the American taxpayer. It comes to the loss with lives of innocent. It's a terrible thing. And there is tremendous fatigue in this country. This is not a political winner for President Trump. People are sick and tired of hearing about Israel and constantly at war. The problem is, for 80 years, the enemies surrounding Israel have been trying to kill them and eliminate them from the state. And so if anybody's tired of war, it's the Israelis.
You know, it's interesting, Bruce, because that debate, you're right, is happening. And to me, what stands out about it is it's happening in large part on the American right. You know, obviously, Democrats are critical of just about everything that the president does. But the American right does seem somewhat split by this. And I wonder what you would say to conservatives who have some of those concerns that you just outlined and might have even more concerns if this drags on for, you know, longer than they're comfortable with.
You make a great point. And I do think these things, you know, should be discussed and they should be questioned. There's a difference between America first and America only. And I think this is a choice. If we want to sit back and allow the world to be a less safe place, well, then that's fine. It's called isolationism. If we want to let China just go ahead and do whatever they want to do in Taiwan, they can do that. If we want to let Russia do whatever they want in Ukraine, they could do that. If we want to send pallets of cash to Iran in the hopes that maybe they'll somehow, you know, conform and join nations of normalcy, we can do that. These are all choices. And as a result of what President Biden did, sort of sitting back and doing nothing, the world again caught on fire. And President Trump had to come in, and he's had to put out a tremendous number of fires. So I get where people who are tired of this are. I just think that the United States has an opportunity to be leaders of the free world and make it a better and safer place for everybody. And I think peace through strength first in the Middle East, and then hopefully peace through prosperity. And that's why I've been supportive of the president's decisions.
Coach, you've been watching the coverage closely this week. You know, the White House has said that they knew if Iran came under attack by anybody, they would respond against the United States. Rubio this week said the White House knew there was going to be Israeli action, and that would precipitate an attack against American forces. You're a very high-profile Jewish American. Do you worry at all that this conflict will result in even more anti-Semitism across the United States?
I worry about it, but I would rather there have to be a rise in anti-Semitism, okay, to give the Iranian people an opportunity to maybe have freedom, to have Iran not have the ability to deliver a nuclear weapon. Look, what Israel has been doing for 25 years to try to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon has prevented World War III. Right now, we've got terrible conflict going on in the Middle East, but it's not World War III. And so I understand that people are going to blame Israel, that this is Israel's war. No, it's not. It's the world. It's the world at war in many ways, and it's President Trump showing leadership to making it sure that it is going to be a safer place, and there obviously will be a price to pay. While people are fatigued about the war, Israel is the one that's being bombed, or our Arab allies and our Arab friends are being bombed by this terrorist state. It's time. It's long overdue that we eliminate this threat to the world.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.